It's the opportunity for me to take the fabulously windy Farola, the famous highway built in the 1960s in the wake of the Cuban Revolution, which completed the long-standing project of linking the island overland from east to west. Thanks to the Farola, this region that was for so long cut off from outside influences was opened up. Baracoa was in an unusual situation of double isolation, being cut off from the rest of the island, while Cuba was isolated from the rest of the world. This particularity allowed it to preserve a culture, an identity, and traditions which are almost miraculous these days. It certainly offers much for those who like to see a people's roots breaking the surface in the present day. I'm now venturing into the land of the cacao growers.
I've been doing this job ever since I was little. You could say I was created in this field. You know, here in the countryside, the children help their parents from the age of 6 or 7. Back in the day, cacao wasn't grown on this land. It was used for growing bananas, which are called guineo here. At the time, they used to sell a lot of bananas. There was even a special train from Consolación de José de Mata to collect the bananas before shipping them abroad, mainly to the United States. Then it moved on to the green banana, which was eaten as an accompaniment to various dishes. After the banana plantations, they began to grow coffee. Here, before the cacao, it was covered in coffee plants. When trade in coffee began to decline, they got into cacao. Today, my field is mainly made up of cacao and sweet bananas. When you plant a cacao seed, you have to wait 4 or 5 years before it starts to give fruit. And around 7 to 8 years before it reaches peak production. Cacao has its own cycles. There's the small harvest and the big one in the middle of the year. The tree produces fruit throughout the year, but in smaller quantities. Here we have been using the same methods as always. It's the same tradition. Harvest the cacao, send it to the cooperative, keeping a little bit for our own consumption. That's it, nothing more. Before 1959, it was a bit different. We had to sell dry cacao. But after the revolution, the process was simplified, and the state now buys the fruit as pulp directly from us. We don't have to process it, which saves us a lot of work. When Fidel triumphed in the Sierra Maestra, the first thing he did was to give land to the peasants so they could be happy in their work. Everyone was delighted with this reform process initiated by our comandante, our leader. For a Cuban, Being a farmer is a source of great pride because the great leaders of the revolution come from Cuban farming stock. So you can understand that we are proud to be good farmers, combative and hardworking.
Baracoa es el municipio donde radica.
Baracoa is the powerhouse of the cacao sector because 90% of all cacao in Cuba is produced in this region.
90% del cacao que se produce en Cuba se produce en esta zona.
After leaving the white pulp extracted from the pods to ferment for 7 days, it is then left to dry in the sun for another week before being roasted in a cauldron. The cacao beans then become brown and crunchy and are then passed through a mill to obtain a sort of thick paste that is rolled into balls. Once it's dry, it can readily be conserved, and when required, it just needs to be shredded before finally extracting the cocoa powder.